This is Trevor Williams Church from Haunt. You're listening to Thunder Underground.
Welcome to episode 247 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here as always, and this week we've got another great one.
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Because Trevor Williams Church of Haunt is here.
That's right. We got him. He's on the show. He's quite a guy. A lot to say. So, we're happy to spring this one on everybody.
That's right. Yeah, this is a good one. I think people are going to like it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
They better listen.
I know you've been, since, probably a year or two ago, whenever you kind of got into him, turned me on to him, and we've been mentioning ever since then, we need to get this guy on the podcast.
I mean, this is my heavy metal. This is like straight up, this shit is right up my alley.
Yeah.
And the new album Mind Freeze is amazing. So yeah, it's just great this worked out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get into that here shortly. But before we do, we need to let you know that we are sponsored by MedFarm and DEB Concerts. MedFarm is a dispensary located right here in our town of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, suburb of Tulsa. They're located at 24683 East Highway 51. You can't miss them. Get in there, check out their selection. It's big. They've got lots of stuff. They're always running specials as well. If you follow them on their social medias, you won't miss any of those specials. MedFarm on Facebook, that's PHARM. At MedFarmOK on Instagram. And MedFarmOK.com is the website. And one of their specials that is going all the time is if you tell them that you heard about them on Thunder Underground or just mention our name, they will give you 10% off your order. So we're very happy that they do that. It's a good perk there. So get in there and do that. And another great thing is that their slogan is Cannabis with a Cause, because 30% of their profits are going to build a no-kill animal shelter. They've got one already that they have the land for and the building. And they're working on getting it set up. So that should be during this 2020, I bet.
That's right. I mean, you gotta love the little creatures.
Yeah. And especially the fact that, it's a no-kill animal shelter.
Exactly.
That's the big point here. And they're 100% locally owned, family owned, veteran owned, I believe. So get in there, check them out, support them.
I mean, how can you kill animals just because no one's picking them up?
Yeah, I've always thought that was weird. It's like
terrible.
It's like they say they run out of space, but isn't there? I'm not so deep into this that I know, but I always figured there's got to be another one somewhere that can take one or two animals, spread it out. I know these places might not work together. I don't know.
I have a great idea. There's like 48 churches for every one person in this goddamn state. So let's clear out about goddamn 3/4 of those motherfuckers. They don't do any good anyways. And put all the animals in there. Make that a haven for the animals. Something that does matter. Something that is real. Okay? I mean, I can imagine, I got my little dog from the pound, and she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't imagine killing her. She's great. She doesn't shit in the house. It's awesome.
Right.
I named her Izzy after Izzy Stradlin.
That's right.
I mean, you can't do this. The churches are there. Let's clear them out. I'm going to hell for that.
Hey, or just, even, a couple of churches or McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, definitely McDonald's. Look, you know how a place is bad? I don't go eat there. Anyone that's seen me can figure that out. If I'm not going to go eat there, the place sucks ass. So let's just take all the McDonald's and put all the pets there. There's just so many options.
Right. But at least we know there's another no-kill coming soon.
That's right. That's right.
Also, DEB Concerts, a promoter based right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma that we love. Not just because they sponsor us, but because they keep bringing in shows that we love. They started a few years ago with Winger, and ever since then they've had Saxon, Junkyard, Kicks, Last in Line, Steelheart. Just saying those 5 bands, it's like 5 bands that I never thought would be playing Tulsa.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And then they've also had Striper, Dokken more than once, LA Guns more than once. We've had Warrant, Firehouse, Great White, Lita Ford, Beasto Blanco, Sebastian Bach, Tom Kiefer. But coming up soon, here in about a month and a half, or even less than a month and a half, February 22nd, Buck Cherry is returning to Tulsa.
Hell yeah.
And playing the Ideal Barn for the first time. That show will be opened up by Grind and Fist of Rage.
I can't wait.
Yeah, this is a good one because Buck Cherry's generally you heard all the bands that we mentioned. Buck Cherry's newer than most of the bands they book, but they also fit the mold of the classic hard rock sound as well. So glad to see that, DEB Concerts is bringing in someone like Buck Cherry.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect way to go. I can't wait to see what they do next.
Yeah, absolutely. So get in touch with the band Grind or Fist of Rage and tell them you need tickets. Even if you're from out of town, if you get in touch with them on Facebook, they'll ship them to you and you're saving cash. On this show, it's actually $10 a ticket. That's what I've seen CJ post, I believe.
Okay.
Which is a huge savings. $20 if there's you and a significant other going. Right there, that's
a deal.
That's at Ideal Barroom. That's like 5 beers because their beers aren't that bad priced. So
that's right.
There you go. Can't beat that. Eddie Trunk will be hosting the show as well, as always. And also, DEB Concerts books the D&B processing stage at Rocklahoma. They did that last year with Beasto Blanco, Ace Frehley, Lita Ford, Slaughter, and a ton of regional and local acts. And this year will be no different. They recently announced that John 5 will be one of the acts on that stage. And the announcement for all of Rocklahoma is coming next week, Wednesday, January 22nd.
Yes.
And we can now announce that Doug Burgess, who runs DEB Concerts, will announce his entire lineup on the D&B processing stage, all 4 days, right here on this podcast.
That's right.
That'll happen in, a day or two before the lineup comes out.
Yeah.
Be sure to be listening for that early next week so you get a jump on everybody else.
That's right. We're up to some stuff. We got stuff going on.
That's right. And hey, like we said, we got Trevor William Church here. We've also got Tommy Erickson from Slumlord Radio coming up soon. We just recorded that one as well.
That'll be a good one.
So be on the lookout for both of those episodes coming soon. And I think we'll have another surprise for you to announce next week as well.
I think so.
Before we get into all the greatness that is Trevor William Church's music, we need to talk about something else that is great. Well, not that is great. Someone that was great.
Yes.
Which is Neil Peart, who, unless you're living under a giant fucking rock, if you listen to rock music, you listen to this podcast, you undoubtedly know that he passed away this past weekend.
Yes.
Friday. Well, actually, he passed away earlier last week, and it didn't get announced until Friday.
Yeah. As with all things Rush, it's all done with integrity, and it's all done when they want it to and how they want it to be done.
And in this day and age, that's amazing that they can pull it off.
It's insane that they can pull that kind of secrecy for the last 3.5 years off in this age of social media, internet. Everyone's always on their goddamn phone. I respect that so much, and as terrible of news as this is, I mean, it's the worst fucking news. It just goes to show, the reverence and the respect and, the integrity that Rush do things with. As we know now, Neil was battling brain cancer for the last 3.5 years.
So as we know, that's the reason he stepped away.
Yes, now we know. Now it's like, okay, here we go. And so, I mean, it's just sad, dude. It's so sad. I mean, this is literally, I can say this with so much confidence. There's no way anyone could argue me. I know it's fucking correct. It's a fact.
I'm going to argue just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I know you will.
No.
Anybody else could say you'd agree, but me, you're going to fuck with me.
Right.
But Neil Peart was the greatest drummer, I think, to ever pick up a pair of sticks in the fucking history of music.
You're not even just saying rock, you're saying
in anything. Okay. I really, look at what, there was no, and see, that's the thing is is there was no flash about this guy. He had no flash, no gimmick. Every hit was part of the formula. Everything meant something. It wasn't just, I'm going where the music takes me, man, and, I'm going to twirl my sticks a million times. I mean, he didn't need any of that. It was all thought out. Every hit, every note, it was all, I mean, it's just like, it was so like scholastic and technical, but at the same time, so expressional. I mean, it's just look up any one of his drum solos and and there's nobody else's drum solo that can top it ever.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I could keep going, but it would just go in circles. That's how I feel about it.
Well, the thing is, it's like with any instrument, whether it be drums, guitar, vocals, whatever, you can always argue, like, so-and-so is one of the best ever. And you can loosely say that about fucking 50 guys.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But it's pretty rare, like, what you just said, especially since he's passed away, and you see it from other people that are extremely revered, that, a few people are saying, he's one of the 3 greatest drummers ever, or whatever. Or like him and John Bonham are all that mattered or whatever. But more often than not, people are saying this is the greatest. Yeah. It's not like one of it's like this is the greatest.
Yeah, you're gonna be hard pressed to find anyone that argues with what I just said.
That's right.
Besides you, that's just doing it to fuck with me.
No, I'm not arguing.
No, I know. But I mean, it's
because it really is. It's like even not being a drummer, you just know it's like it's him and Bonham, and and even Bonham's not even in that category. As far as the technicality.
Yeah. And this is some shit I'd say had he not passed away.
Oh, absolutely.
We've had this conversation many times.
Yeah.
I just, was it over Thanksgiving? I went on a huge Rush kick. I listened to like 5 of their albums just in one day, and I'm just like, God damn. It's all amazing, but the drums, you just can't help but focus on the drums more than anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a terrible loss. It's a sad loss. 67 years old. This is just one more case of, our idols are getting up there. We're getting up there. You're going to start seeing this, blah, 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 blah. We've been through it. So.
And even 67's not that old
no.
Obviously cancer fucking sucks. But,
yeah.
I mean, and, the only other thing I want to say is like Rush is one of those few bands that, I was trying to think of this earlier when I was trying to think what to say. There's very few bands where like every single member and instrument is as extremely as important as the other one.
Yes.
And Rush, you could say that probably about Zeppelin or The Who. I'll say it about Faith No More just because I'm a geek for them.
Yeah.
But it's like Rush is like the pinnacle of that, where like these 3 guys and, all insanely talented and all meshed together perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's just insane that, they could do something, I assume that they would probably call it something different, but they have every right, if in a couple years they wanted to go out as Rush again, they could. But I don't think that'll happen.
They won't do that.
I'm pretty sure that these Mike Portnoy rumors will kick back up again. That were just kicking around a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, outside of him, there's a few guys that could pull it off. But
I think if they did something, they'd call it something different.
Yeah. You just call it Lee and Lifelson or something.
And I think that like the last thing about this I want to say is, we got to see them, I think, in 2011.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It was the second to the last tour.
Yeah. And
2010 or 11, yeah.
And we were pretty up front.
Yeah, it was like,
from what I remember,
10th row, I think.
Yeah.
10th row.
And I just want to say thank you. I have you to thank for that. I don't really remember the details, but I know that my dumb broke ass couldn't have went if you didn't have. You had 2 extra tickets somehow. Fuck me, I can't remember. And you didn't even hold me over the coals for me. Just let me pay back when I could. I probably fucking still owe on them. I don't fucking know the way my fucking crazy ass is. But I thank you because that was absolutely one of the greatest shows I've ever been to.
Yeah.
That was one of my top 5 shows. And I'm just glad I got to see that,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
And you've also seen obviously tons of musicians all across the
Oh,
board.
man.
Like paying tribute. Like, everybody we love, like Charlie Benante has put out a shitload of stuff on Instagram.
He put a post like every 2 or 3 hours.
Mike Portnoy, is another one. I saw a big long thing from Brian Tishy that we just had on here a couple months ago, which was really cool because he talked about whenever he toured opening for Rush, and that's the common theme through all these guys that either played with Rush or just met him. They would all talk about how cool he was to them, like as far as like, hey, I think it was Brian Tishy that said, he's like, hey, have you tried? Because he was talking about his kid. He's like, have you tried? He's like, no, I didn't try it. It's fucking Neil Peart's kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, come on and play.
Yeah, get back there. Yeah.
And
I read that, yeah.
Yeah, you see it from all these guys that you expect it from, hard rock and metal. And then I saw a deal, like on the day it was announced from Brian Wilson. That's how wide-reaching this guy is, you know. If you got Brian Wilson talking about a guy from the world of progressive rock.
Yes, yeah, no kidding. So, yeah, that's Neil Peart, rest in peace. What a legacy.
Yeah, I think...
what a pioneer.
I think we should just say now, even though we're like months and months behind on our Iron Maiden, every album in a row that we're going to do with Jason Carroll, we should just decide that we're going to do a Rush one.
Oh, my God.
And we should get Michael Davis to do
Yes,
it.
we should. We should. We were just talking about him anyways.
I know
we should definitely do that.
We know a lot of Rush fans, but hey, he's a drummer and that's like his favorite band, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that would
we
be
should
perfect.
definitely do that.
Yeah.
That'll happen like 2024, the way we're going with those things.
2112.
Oh, shit. I don't know that none of us will be here, man. It's probably a good thing, too.
Yeah. All right, well, should I go into this, the Power Trip Evil Beat Festival thing, or should I save that for the next episode?
Save that for the next one.
Since we got a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, we got a lot to cover on this deal.
Yeah, so just jumping into the Trevor William Church stuff. I mean, he's going to cover a lot, but...
Yes.
And kind of, you mentioned it briefly up front, but Mind Freeze, the third full-length album, just came out last Friday. And this is the third full-length album in less than 2 years. There's also been 2 EPs. He talks about that in detail about why he's so prolific in putting out so much
he
stuff.
Doesn't fuck around.
Yeah.
And it's really a good train of thought, really, once you hear his explanation for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, just a general thing right now, before we get into it, if you don't know Haunt, you're going to, it's just the new wave of traditional heavy metal that's kind of coming through and definitely coming out of California. I mean, if you like, I think if you like Maiden and Priest and, I mean, the drill, man. I mean, this kind of stuff is going to be right up your alley. You like the first few Metallica records.
And if you want to get deeper into it, the whole new wave of British heavy metal stuff.
Yeah, all that.
Like Diamond Head and Satan, of course, because they're
on tour with Satan. Yeah. I mean, this is, if that's your thing, you've already heard Haunt. If you're, I mean.
Yeah, but if you're not familiar with them, just like you said, if you even loosely like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, put that together,
Yeah.
You've got at least a taste of what you're going to get a little bit of.
Yeah, you're not going to hate this stuff. Yeah. It's amazing.
And speaking of, we didn't really get into it in this interview, but, Jason wrote a review for the album Hysteria, the Hysteria album that came out here a few months ago. That's a great album as well. In the same vein, but it also features 2 of the guys from Hellfire, who are another great
amazing,
band
yeah.
That, we fortunately got to see recently. And also Night Demon's another band in that realm that Trevor goes into here later in this interview. And we've had Night Demon on this podcast 3 times now.
Definitely.
And everything that Trevor says about him is absolutely true.
Totally true.
We know that from our own experiences as well. So be sure and check out all these bands on that tour: Satan, Night Demon, Bewitcher, and of course Haunt. That's going to, look it up. It's happening in April. It's coming our way. I know it's hitting a lot of, I think, Midwest and East Coast areas. So look that up and find it out. And of course, check out Mind Freeze. So let's jump into this. Here's Trevor William Church from Haunt.
like trying to get all these mind freeze orders taken care of, and like today he just decided like finally that he was going to allow me to like get the work done, and he just like slept most of the day. I was like, holy shit, finally. Like finally I could get this done.
Hey, I was wondering where my cassette was.
Nope. Well, the cassettes aren't even here, and I'm starting to get fucking pissed because they've been in Berkeley and Oakland for almost 2 weeks.
Like on tracking?
I'm like, yeah, the tracking says it's in Oakland. I'm like, I'll fucking drive there. Like, you're making me like, those are the only orders that are left to fulfill are cassettes. And I'm just like, you fucking asshole. Wow. I want to get this shit done. Because now I have the Hysteria record just came today. And now I got to get all those out and get all the merchandise ready for Europe in like 4 weeks or in a month. I'm going to be in Europe in like literally a month.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fucking post. I mean, how the fuck can something get that caught up for that long in the same state 3 hours away?
Right. Dude, it comes
fucking kicker. This isn't the first time this has happened either. So I'm not like surprised. For some reason, when you send a big box and send it media mail, sometimes it's slow.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
It comes all fucked up. I guarantee the box is going to be mangled.
Yeah. Well, that goes to something I've always said is people don't fucking care anymore. They just don't.
Nah. They do, but they don't. There's like, it's half and half. It really depends on who their boss is, really.
Yeah.
If they got a cool boss, it's laid back, they're working good. If they got a fucking dickhead that they're working under, they're pissed every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the reality. How cool is your boss? You know what I mean? That's,
yeah.
At the end of the day, I just got that dictates everybody's work ethic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
you have too cool of a boss, then you ain't doing shit. But if your boss is just cool enough, then you're getting shit done. If they're like the type of boss that's like, oh, you want to leave 15 minutes early on a Friday? Did you get all your work done? Yeah, cool. Get the fuck out of here. Those are the people that are going home happy. You'd be surprised what 15 minutes will do to somebody. They're like, fuck! It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Except for me, I don't work for anybody, so I don't know anything. I've never worked for anybody, so I don't really know what that's like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, having said all that, we appreciate you taking the time out to do this. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess just jumping into it, talking about Mind Freeze, been out. I know you played a record release show. How do you feel about it, and how do you think it kind of differs from the other releases so far?
Well, it's interesting because when I started Haunt, it was just me, and like I had Daniel plays drums now, but at the time he was Beastmaker's merch guy.
Yeah.
And I just kind of hit him up and was like, hey, I got these songs, I'm drumming on it, I don't like my playing, will you come play on it? That was really it. So there wasn't really any talks of like, hey, this is going to be a band at that time. So fast forward a little bit, in like I'm in Europe on tour with Beastmaker, and Shadow Kingdom's like, hey man, I'm selling out of these things. Like, we already sold out of the first pressing. It's been like 2 weeks. You should think about maybe doing a full length. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you need to do this. And so I got home, wrote the album, and literally Daniel got sick and hospitalized in the middle of the recording. And me and Andy, the drummer for Beastmaker, we ended up trying to like sample all his drums. It was pretty fucking chaotic, to be real. It was an insane process that I wouldn't redo, but we didn't really know what to do because like he told us, and I mean, we're all homies, we're Fresno guys. And, you know, he told us he had 6 months to live. And so Andy and I are over here feeling hella guilty because we were like, well, we could just get somebody else to drum on it. We're like, nah, what if Wolfie dies? This is like, you know, that's fucked up. We don't want that. So we made it work. We made it work. It wasn't what we wanted, and it's strange because we just re-recorded the drums for it because the first pressing is all sold out,
Mm-hmm.
and Wolfie survived. He's a fucking survivor. I don't know how. I mean, to be told you got 6 months to live, to going on tour and you know, doing the things that we've done is pretty crazy. It's a pretty remarkable story, which people will hear about soon. But fast forward again to like my craziness where I'm just like writing stuff and hella impatient. You know, to Icarus, to Mind Freeze, we only had an 8-month period. So I mean, really, I had the album done 5 months after the release of Icarus. I had the Icarus done literally like a month after Burst into Flame. And that's just how it goes with me with songs. It's really weird. So Mind Freeze, it's crazy because some of the songs on it are really old and some of them are very, very new. And the only thing I can tell you about it is like I've wanted to play keyboards on records for a long time. There's never been a keyboard player. I've had an ad on Craigslist since fucking, it feels like forever.
Yeah.
Like it's just out there, and it's like it's like the raddest. Like if I was to like search Craigslist in the musicians column, you know, signed touring band, paid gig, I would be like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, I would become a keyboard player. I'd be like, well, I'm going to be a keyboard player now because I want to be in a band that's cool. You know what I mean? So, like, it's really weird. So I just finally was like, you know what? Let's just see. I'm going to put it on here and just see how it all goes. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. Years ago, I used to program and do, like, really, like, punk synth stuff. I was really into, like, Gary Newman for a long time, and I loved, you know, I just love keyboards. I love Ozzy's keyboards. And just the texture that it puts to it, it makes a whole new little layer to put on. Even though I put it really subtly on this one, I'm starting to get a little bit more into that and putting it a little bit more up front now, a little bit now that like it was received well. I was kind of frightened. I was like, are these people going to be like, what the fuck is this? He's trying too hard or something. You never know what people are going to say.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's been well received. And, you know, I feel like Haunt is like, you know, we're starting to like have some like actual real momentum as a group, you know, like I'm still writing the music and stuff, still crafted by me, and it's kind of still has the same general format of how I do things. But like the live show has definitely like evolved into like also how I write as well now, because like John plays like pretty much all the lead guitar now. I did like 3 solos on this record. And John also had solos in those songs, so it wasn't like I had 3 solos. It's 3 lead parts that I have. But I started realizing like, hey, this is not what I want to be doing. Like, I want to be running around. I want to be like headbanging, and like I don't want to have to like focus so hard on everything all the time. I need a little bit of, you know, a little bit of space to breathe. Let's put it that way. Because like, you're soloing, you think like, imagine this is a good, you know, I remember the first time I went in front of a bunch of people in a crowd, you know, like I was playing a show one of my years ago, and I went to go play my first solo, and all of a sudden my hands weighed like 900 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, holy shit, like I'm fucking up, and it's obvious. And to, you know, fast forward now, all these years later, it's still really crazy because like at home in the studio, I'm just like, it's like boom, one take. Sometimes I make it up on the spot, one take. So it's really weird how that kind of, you know, like the pressure of live of, you know, playing the set good and singing good and then playing all my solos good. It just got to be a little bit. And then John was he's just better than I am at that stuff. So I'm like, you're lead guitar player now. So we've had a couple like little subtle differences between our last record and now. And, you know, I really like Mind Freeze for a couple of reasons, because it was the first time Wolfie was well. That's a huge change. You know, that's a big change to go from sick as fuck drummer to well drummer.
Yeah.
You know, there's like, you would have to have been here to understand what I'm saying. Like, there was a session of Burst and Flame. I'll just break it down for you. Just real quick story. He came over for a session here for Burst in a Flame. He lasted 15 minutes and he was gone. I didn't see him again for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like pretty serious.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know if we were going to be able to do the tour that we had planned for it. And like, strangely, like, I was looking for other people. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. And then Wolfie just hit me up one day and was like, doctor says my liver's improved 15% if I keep, you know, he's like, if I quit drinking, quit doing everything I was doing, he's like, they think I might make it if I have a liver transplant. So at this time, he was going to have a fucking liver transplant. He ended up not even having to do that. He did have to have surgery. He had to have a pacemaker put in. But so Mind Freeze, it was the first time we really had Wolfie. Because before I was doing some drumming, like, you know, he was doing some, but a lot of it we were, you know, having to do so much. It was not really him. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't there. He wasn't, because he's a super good drummer, and people that have seen us live know he's like incredible. He's an amazing drummer. One of the best. His double bass is fucking, he blows people out of the water that I've seen. He just really has a gift. And he's never really got to shine till now. And like, it's pretty exciting to actually be there. You know what I mean? So now it's like, now we really could like make things happen. You know what I mean? And so it was really nice for Mind Freeze to really see that like it all could come together. You know what I mean? For the first time without any trials and tribulations. It was like, oh, here we go. Wolfie's good. We don't have to worry about how the drums are going to get done. Because I'm not the guy that's going to wait 2 hours to release material. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think the world is already starting to see that. Like, I'm not one to rest and be like, oh, yeah, album's done. To me, I don't really understand this, and I talk about this a lot. This is something that I really don't understand about the record industry, and that's why I choose to be on a smaller, like, indie metal label and also retain the rights to my music. Is there is no way that I'm going to write 8 or 10 songs and then wait 18 months to do the rest, because I will have a ridiculous amount of music written by that time. Ridiculous. I write every day. Yeah. Even now I'm writing, you know, I try to write a riff, like, even if I can't write a riff every day, I've written a riff per day. So if it isn't a new riff, I've added to a song. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, there's always something going, even if it's just writing lyrics, you know what I mean? Like, I try to get something done every day. So there's 365 fucking days in a year, and I'm not a millionaire, so I don't have the luxury of sitting on my ass and being like this glorious, you know, this isn't the glory rock star days of yesteryear, where it's like you put out a record and it automatically sold 100,000 copies, even if you sucked. Those days are long gone. So I don't get to be a millionaire. So I have to, like, to me, I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I like doing. So there's nothing to, like, take me out of Fresno. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have enough money to be like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to go to fucking Paris for 2 weeks and shop and eat and be all gluttonous. And then I'll go do a tour, and then, you know, I'll make all this money, and then I'll go do that again. And then I'll do, you know what I mean? That to me is how you like, you know, the way that the industry has this, like, you know, 16 to 18 months they want the record to be out before you do your next one.
Yeah.
Or, you know, some labels maybe a year if you're a popular artist. But, you know, I just can't imagine, like, being in that situation. I kind of was in it with my previous band, Beastmaker, where they were like, oh, why don't we wait a little bit longer? And I'm like, I have 50 songs.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what do you want to wait for? Like, let's get this shit done before I hate this band and then I start doing something else because I need to be fucking occupied. I'm not like sitting here trying to like be like, okay, well, if that's what you want to do. I mean, if somebody was making me millions of dollars and they're like, hey, Trevor, why don't you just wait, dude? I'd probably go, all right. But, I'm not getting, I get $5,000 to record a record and have to work a normal job. You're going to fucking sit there and dictate, what you want to do. Like, no, I don't think so. Like, you know what I mean? If it's like you wanted to sign the band, you wanted, I'm going right along with what was done. You know what I mean? What was said and what we could do. And it ended up not really working out, for that band. Unfortunately, I really enjoyed doing Beastmaker a lot, and I wrote a lot of material for it. But I like Haunt so much more because I don't feel confined as much to a genre, even though we're in the new wave of traditional heavy metal rotation pretty heavily on his YouTube page and stuff. I still, and Shadow Kingdom also has marketed us in that. I still feel like we're way different than a traditional metal band. I feel like there's a lot of like hard classic rock riffs in my music, and probably I would say my music is like 25% traditional metal and 75% classic rock personally. And maybe, throw in some, I've been really into a lot of I've been kind of going back into stuff that I was listening to when I was a teenager. I was, I'm almost 40. And the other day I was getting very, very nostalgic because I was shipping all these fucking records. So it's like, I do all the shipping. So I just put it on YouTube and let it just play. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to all the Fat Records stuff from the 90s and then the Epitaph stuff. And going back through some of it, I really started realizing some of my music is definitely rooted in there.
Yeah.
Especially the California bands like Theory 66, Through 32, AFI. There's so many more. Lagwagon. I mean, I could go. California has always been pretty prominent of bands, but being able to see those bands made it way cooler. And that's what I was going to see in the 90s. I was not going to, I mean, metal in the 90s, I feel was Limp Bizkit. Those are the bands that were up front. Korn, that was considered metal. So I and then Danzig put out Danzig 4, and then Metallica put out Load, and I was like, well, I don't know if I like heavy metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like punk. I like the punk stuff better. Fucking Lagwagon was more metal than Metallica's Reload, to be honest with you. Go listen to Lagwagon Trash, and you're gonna hear way more metal riffs than you do in Load. So it's pretty weird, kind of going back and hearing that, and starting to hear that it's actually, I'm using a lot of progressions that they use, and stylistically it's kind of seems that way too, and not even knowingly. You know what I mean? It was just something that was I kind of lost touch with a lot of those bands, mainly because I really was into music that had guitar solos. That was the big I feel like that's still what makes a lot of that 90s punk and 80s punk. I mean 80s metal, and that era. What really made it different was just the lack of guitar solos that punk really had. But the playing was metal, they were doing hella technical, all muted riffs, and it was very, you could just tell that that's what those guys were listening to. They just wanted to do something differently.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's bringing us up to Mind Freeze. It's a cool thing to see that we finally had Wolfie well enough to really play on the whole record, and without any, like I said, any weird health hiccups, and to see that there's this live perspective of it now, John's new role, me being able to write synth into the music, and then just overall, there's been other things, we got the cover of Decibel magazine, which is amazing for a band that's been around as long as we were or have been. And then also being from Fresno, a place where nothing comes out of except for raisins and almonds. I mean, like, we are not known for our fucking heavy metal scene. You know what I mean? Even though we had a very thriving punk scene here many times. In the 80s, there was Capital Punishment that was from here. And I mean, there was a couple record stores here when I was growing up that had all the flyers, like Black Flag would play here, Dead Kennedys, tons of bands played here. And then it even thrived through the 90s because there was a place called the Cadillac Club that had tons of bands that come. All the bands I just mentioned were playing here. But anyway, we just never really had, like, it's hard to come from here. It's not cool. Sometimes I catch myself reading YouTube comments and I even like the bad comments. I get a kick out of what people have to say about what I do sometimes. But anyway, somebody had said, why isn't this band way bigger than they are? And then somebody commented, because they're from Fresno. And I just had to laugh. I was like, it's so true. So true. I remember trying to like branch out of Fresno and just people like did not even care. It was like the first Beastmaker shows I was trying to play LA. I mean, we were playing with like ska bands, Doom and ska on the same night. Imagine how many people were in attendance. The 6 people that had heard of us and like the 10 people that the ska band would bring. So it was definitely a hard road traveled to be, like there's no cool points, you know what I mean? Like if you're a cool band from the Bay Area, it's like automatic that like, hey, these guys are cool and, they play this cool club that's here. We just don't really have that. So it's been a lot more, it's a lot crazier than it's really, trying to climb the ladder of music and be from a place that is unhip, unrecognized. It presents its own challenges within itself. Because you kind of have to prove to the cool people that you're cool. Even if it's not really what you care about. I don't fucking care about any of that shit. I'm my big thing is like always been writing songs, obviously, because we already have the next record done. We're going to be recording it in the next couple months here.
Wow.
After we get home from Europe, we're recording it. It'll be done.
Oh yeah.
Mind Freeze is already old. Time to move to the next one.
Well, earlier you're talking about, you're doing all this stuff yourself. You write all the songs, and especially seeing as how you do things so quickly. When is something done, and when do you know to hang back, or maybe this needs more and that doesn't?
When I hate it.
Nice.
That's when.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can tell you, because if you love it, you don't want to stop.
Yeah.
You don't like it, you start wanting to stop.
Yeah.
And is that going to happen? I don't know. I mean, like, there's definitely going to be a time that comes. I'm not even. I know this is a fact. It's not a matter of like, is it going to happen? It's when is that going to happen? Because I'll tell you this, as long as people want to see Haunt and hear Haunt, like, I'm going to continue writing the songs. Now, like, it really depends. I guess everything depends on tour scheduling, because I'm not one that's really all that into touring, to be honest with you. Over the years, I've started to like it less and less, and now I'm a dad, I like it even less. I love playing the shows. I don't like driving in a car all fucking day and then sitting around all day waiting to play the show when my mind is moving 1,000,000 miles per hour, and I'm missing my family, and I'm also missing songwriting. Believe you me, when I'm out on the road, since I can't write, my brain is like this fucking rapid, like, saying where I'm like thinking of things. Too much time on my hands. So I don't know, man. I mean, like, to answer the question when, when do you know to slow down? I mean, right now I feel like I have slowed down. I waited way longer than I wanted to for Mind Freeze to come out. I was ready to put it out 3 months ago. I just waited because we're like, well, we should just wait till 2020 and we could release it in the beginning of the year. And I was like, all right. I just went along with it because like I wasn't in a super rush for everybody to hear it. But then again, I was also warning Shadow Kingdom. I'm like, I'm writing a new record already. As soon as I'm done with the record, I've already started writing the next one.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we live in a time. I don't feel like we live in a time where that matters anymore because, I mean, when we talk about units being sold, there's like no record stores. You know what I mean? They're not like. I mean, there was a time and place, and I was alive, where there was a record store. There was 2 record stores in every mall in America.
Yeah.
Now there's 0. So do the fucking math. Where are you guys from?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma? Well, I don't know much about Oklahoma, but I can tell you this. In Fresno alone, we had 3 malls, and there was 2 record stores in each of them. And we also had Tower Records, all of which no longer exist. So to think that each one of those record stores could potentially have, each of them have a haunt record, right? 4, and then you multiply it by how many cities are in California, probably would have sold as many records as we currently sell just in one state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So with that being said, and like the internet being what it is, and like people can just pick and choose what they want to hear, and they put it on playlists, and they put it on their own personal playlist, or they put it on shuffle or artists they like. I mean, I don't feel like it even matters. You could put out 50 records if you could. I mean, does it really come down to like how fast somebody's band is really writing? Is it a band is writing records really quickly? I'm sure they would want to put them out as fast as possible. No artist wants to wait. You know what I mean? They want that shit out. I mean, the guy that just got their album done and they can't wait to show their fucking friends. Like, I mean, isn't that like when you get a new toy, like, I want to show this to, you know what I mean? Like, I want to show it off or whatever. Like when I get a new guitar, the first thing I do is I send John a picture. Hey, I got a new guitar. You know what I mean? So it's not like, okay, I'm going to wait 8 months to show John that I got a new guitar.
Yeah.
So everybody's excited and there's an excitement to it. And when I feel like you can connect to people way more. And I have been doing that a lot by going live on my Instagram, live on my Facebook, and like connecting people to what I do. You know, I'm in the studio working on stuff. Why can't they just be here right here with me? I'm not like, we're not in a time where even a big label couldn't make me a millionaire right now. You know what I mean? I just don't play the right music. Maybe if I was Adele or, you know, or a country artist, but like an underground heavy metal artist of the 2020s, a Bandcamp is where I make my money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that was one of my questions. And you're talking about like record labels and record stores. Bandcamp seems like the next best, probably better thing. You know, the way that it's set up and the way you have yours set up specifically. I think that's really cool.
I now could like not. I don't have to go to work anymore, and it's because of Bandcamp.
Yeah. That's
but it
great.
But Bandcamp also created a job that I didn't know I would ever be doing, and that is the shipping business. So at my house now, I have an office that is the shipping room. Like it is packed all the time. I have to ship. I ship a lot. Like right now, Mind Freeze, I did 700 units by myself.
Wow.
I'm still doing it. I told you the tapes didn't come.
Yeah.
I still have to send out everything, and they're sold out. So I know that I have at least 100 or something I got to ship of those fuckers. So I didn't know that was going to be a thing, and I actually adore Bandcamp. I hope nothing ever happens to it. I'll fucking buy it. I'll fucking buy it. It's a great format because it allows artists to actually make some money. I buy everything from artists that I like. I buy it from their Bandcamp.
Yeah.
I don't go anywhere else. That's where I go to get it.
That's where
I go. If I'm paying for a digital download, that's where I pay it, because I know that the artist is actually getting it. But then I found out recently that a lot of labels are actually running the Bandcamp pages and the artists get nothing. I don't like that. That's terrible.
That's no good.
I'm like, well, okay. Well, I can tell you guys right now that, like, it's a challenge. I've been trying to, I've been telling my guys in my group, like John, he's been working really hard on a side project. I'm like, everybody needs to have their own music and you should be online. You know what I mean? Like, everybody in my band. I'm like, there's no reason that you guys can't be on the same level. 'Cause, like, I'm the songwriter, you know what I mean? So it's like, the band is mine, you know what I mean? Like, the whole project, the business, I built the whole thing from the ground up off of being not like, I think Beastmaker would have ended up sounding like, would have been Haunt hadn't the label that I was on make me hate being on the label so much.
Mm-hmm.
It made, I was like, you know what? Because, like, our demo that we put up on Bandcamp is what got me, like, that got attention in the first place. And I remember getting the money from the digital downloads from it, and going like, holy shit, I actually paid off the piece of equipment that I had to buy in order to do this, because we did it in my bedroom at the time. That's where it all started. It was like, we couldn't afford to go to a studio. So that made me and Andy, the drummer Beastmaker, it made us start recording ourselves. And then I realized, well, hey, there's this, like, okay, I made this much money off of Beastmaker's demo. I was like, now I have Haunt. Like, I'm just going to use this as how I'm going to make my living. And I tried. That was the first thing. And when Shadow Kingdom started working with me, that was the first thing I said. I own the Bandcamp. You can't have it.
Yeah.
And here we are 2 years later, and I haven't been happier in a band in my life. I can tell you that much right now. I'm very, there's new stresses about the band, especially with being a dad now, that I'm like, definitely, I'm way more concerned about my touring schedule. I'm like, this is when I'm going to tour, and this is how long I'm going to tour, and that's that. You know what I mean? That's really how I feel now. And so it probably shows in our April tour with Satan. I was so okay. I was like, you know what? We're just going to fly to the East Coast. I don't even want to bother having to drive out there and then back, because there's really not many places to play after you've already gone one way. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to live in the van. I don't want to sleep on people's floors anymore. I'm over that shit, man. We still do a lot of that shit. We stay in shitholes still. So it's still, like, very rugged, So I have to be way more picky choosy about everything. And then, like, I pay my guys like a salary when we go out. I'm like, this is what we're gonna get paid for this. So prepare yourself. And that's how, like, that's the business model of Haunt, really. So it's like, definitely, like, I like take care of my guys out on the road, because I know that, like, bands I've been in the past, like, when you try to do things with very democratically and, like, everybody, like, almost socialist, everybody puts into the pot, it becomes a mess. Like, it really does. You need a leader and you need a right hand, and I got both of those. So, I mean, like, I never thought of myself as a leader until I started hating being led by other people that led me to nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, at least with my guys, I could say, hey, I'm at least leading you to dry land of some sort. I was like, because I played in bands in my younger years, I was hired on, and, like, I would get hired on these tours of bands that, like, were signed, and they'd be like, this is what we're going to give you. And it was terrible. It was like $20 a day. Like, and that was how much you got paid for that was the tour. So, I mean, that's, like, rugged. And it's like, I tell these guys, I'm like, you don't even know the shit I'd been through to get to this point. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we all know in life, to get to the pot of gold, you're gonna fail like 50 times, and you might not even see that pot of gold. You might be able to touch the rim of the pot. You might never even. But hey, if you got that close, at least you got a good story to tell.
Right. Well, you mentioned the tour with Satan and Night Demon, Bewitcher. I know you guys and Night Demon are kind of waving that flag for the new wave of traditional heavy metal, and Satan, of course, being
Sure.
From the heyday of that. Like, what do you think
Oh
this
my
tour is
God.
going to mean for for that style of music?
I for me, it was like even though I'm hella stoked that it's only 2 weeks, I'm sad that it's not 2 months.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that would be the type of tour where it's like, it's just, you have a legendary band like Satan, first off, whose recent record, Cruel Magic, might be my favorite album by them.
Yeah.
And I can't say that about a lot of bands that like are from years ago that put out new records. I don't want to name any because I don't want to make anybody upset with me, but most fail, okay?
Right.
And minus Angel Witch's new record, which was one of my favorite records this last year as well, Angel of Light. But Cruel Magic is fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, it's a great record.
Like an insanely good record.
Yeah.
There's great songwriting in it, and the fucking guitar playing is like scaring me right now. I'm like, I don't want to. Those guys are way too hard to go up against, man. That's a big challenge for me. That's a lot of. There's gonna be some learning on that tour. I'm going to college again. I felt like I went to college when I went on tour with Zach Wilde, but like this is a different kind of college. He's like rock god college. You know what I mean? It's like you watch him and his sound checks, and then watch his show every night from backstage, and you get you talk to him and stuff. You're like, holy fuck! I mean, the dude is like an ultimate shredder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Satan has really good songs where I can't say that I'm like super into Zach Wilde songs. They're not bad. Don't get me wrong. They're not really my cup of tea. I'm more into Satan, obviously. Not the religious figure, but the band. So I mean that's I feel like it's going to be a really and Night Demon. Let me just I have to say a little bit about all the bands now. Night Demon is an incredible band. They just seem to have such a good spirit about them that I just really even just enjoy being around them. Not even just a fan, like being a fan of their music is one thing, but how cool the guys are and how down to earth they are, and how there's so many people that go, oh yeah, they're so down to earth, but no, really, they really are like the coolest guys, and they write kick-ass songs. And I mean, Bewitcher, I've already been friends with Andy, the bass player, from before I even knew who Bewitcher was. So, and their record is really good too, Under the Witching Cross. It's fantastic. So I'm really excited about it. It's weird because I've seen some of the tour, like the shows on the tour, and there's like other bands playing, and I'm like, why?
Right.
Like, how many bands do you need to see in a fucking show? I'm like, it's already a festival. It's 4 fucking bands.
Yeah.
Like give us longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like nobody fucking cares about Joe Schmo local band. I'm like, why would you put a local? I feel like the guy is doing his friend a favor. You know what I mean? I don't like that. I'm like, fuck that. Like, give Bewitcher more time, because the opener only gets like 30 minutes. Give him 45. Give him a fucking hour.
Yeah.
Let him rock out. I mean, it's not. The whole changing of it. When I found it was like a 4-band fucking tour, I was like, holy shit, cool. And then I see some of these shows, I'm like, there's 5, 6 bands. I'm like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Nothing against them. Of course, they're gonna get mad at me, but I don't give a fuck. like I'm doing this shit for Night Demon and Satan and Bewitcher. That's the tour. You know what I mean? Like I always feel like any band that's like off the tour that's randomly thrown on and it's not a music festival and they aren't like super good friends of the bands playing, it's kind of a weird thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, why? And I feel like it's like America, we do that so much. They're like so worried about attendance, and it's like people are gonna come. I will say this: if Haunt can pack Fresno, which we have been, I mean, like there'll be some people at these fucking shows. It might not be coming in the thousands, but it's Satan first off. So every heavy metal fan in America should be like, holy shit, they're coming. Okay, great. Because when's the last time they came here?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they might not be here again.
No shit.
Yeah.
So I personally, I feel like honored to be on the tour. I'm like bowing down to these fucking guys for allowing my band to even be a part of this shit. Because like if I was just a fan and I saw that Satan was on tour, I'd be like, holy shit, I'm gonna go catch these guys. Because like my chances of being overseas and seeing them is even slimmer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's gonna be a really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Are you guys going to any of the shows? You're in Oklahoma. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
we'll near there or not.
Yeah, we'll be at the Tulsa one for sure.
I mean, that's gonna be a fucking rad show.
Yes, it will.
If I lived in Oklahoma, I would drive however far to the closest Midwest city there was to see that band.
It's only about 15 minutes from us, so we will definitely be there.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
That's a hop, skipping, and jumping away, dude. That's awesome.
Well, oh, yeah, we will see you there.
Cool. Was there anything else you guys want to dive into, or you think we got enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think that works. We appreciate you taking this much time with us.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah, this is great, man. Thank you.
Cool. No doubt.
There you go, Trevor William Church from Haunt. A huge thank you to him for taking some time out there to talk to us in the midst of all his shipping out the Mind Freeze physical copies and doctor visits and all that stuff he had going on.
Family always comes first. And,
absolutely.
And I ordered the cassette, but hey, I'm patient.
Right.
I understand what, obviously he's, they're held up. So,
well, see, this day and age, you can get a cassette or a CD or a vinyl because you want to, because I love getting vinyl. You do too. You love getting cassettes, and you get it because of the nostalgic reason, because it's cool, and plus it helps the band out. But at the same time, while you're waiting on that, you can crank the shit out of this on Spotify, so it's not really like you're sitting here dying.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that physical product.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's everywhere. You just go check this stuff out. Mind Freeze, again, the new one. It's great.
Yeah. And, like he talked about in there, you've already got 3 albums and 2 EPs worth of music just from Haunt in the past less than 3 years, basically, with all this stuff, I think. You've got the Hysteria album. You've got Beastmaker you can check out. So just, look into everything that Trevor William Church has going on. He's got Church Studios where he's producing a lot of bands as well. So follow that on Facebook and get your ass out and see Haunt if you can. So if this is your first time listening, we greatly appreciate it. Like we mentioned before the interview, Night Demon has been on this podcast.
That's right.
Several times now. We've also had on, I should have looked up, thinking that vein of music. We've had on Sid Falk, who was formerly in Overkill.
Dave Ellison from Megadeth.
Yeah. Chris Broderick, who was formerly in Megadeth, and now in
Active Defiance.
Yes. Yeah. And we've had on, just across the board of metal guys. We've had on Kirk Winstein of Crowbar and Down, Jimmy Bauer of Down and Superjoint and I Hate God. We've had on John Connolly of Seven Dust. We recently had on Brian Tichy, who's played with tons of different people you know and love. We've had on Kenny Hickey, Typo Negative, this past year. Vivian Campbell of Last in Line, Def Leppard, and of course way back with Dio. Had on Alan Robert of Life of Agony. Got on Gene Simmons of Kiss, Bruce Kulick, formerly of Kiss, guys from Europe, Warrant, and a host of those kind of bands like Tesla and Dokken. So just dig through there and check it all out. It's all you can find everything, whether it be the podcast, reviews, and social medias at our website, which is thethunderunderground.com. Follow us on all the socials. If you click like or follow or whatever it allows you to do, that helps us out as well because other people see it and it spreads it around. And then get on YouTube and subscribe to us at The Thunder Underground. We've got a lot of reviews and reactions and whatnot to different stuff over the past couple years. And I'm sure we'll have that coming up as well with the Rocklahoma review. And, of course, new albums coming out this spring. And, yeah, you can listen to everything on soundcloud.com/thunder-underground, on iTunes, Google Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Mixcloud, all that great stuff. So get on all those and subscribe as well. I think that covers it for episode number 2 of 2020.
Rest in peace, Neil Peart.
That's right. All right, once again, thank you to MedFarm, DEB Concerts, and Trevor William Church. And until next time.
Finally get to smoke a joint.
It's the little pleasures in life.
After spending like an hour and a half at the fucking pediatrician's, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they'll keep
waiting.
me in there. Yeah.
I was like, Jesus. I was like, this is fucking insane. I'm like, we should just come an hour late.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you schedule us at 3:30. Why do I come at 4:30?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you come an hour late, then they just cancel you.
Yeah, that's right. That's just like, oh, they're late. Fuck them.
Yeah, exactly.
$45. $45 charge. I'd love to collect $45 for all the people that missed shit.
No shit. Yeah, we'd all be better.
You know,
off.
like, hey, you missed it? All right, you owe me $45. I'm always late. I'm always late everywhere I go.
Well,
I've always had that thing where I say, always get there 15 minutes early. Somehow I'm 15 minutes late, and then add a kid into it. Now I'm 30 minutes late now.
Thunder Underground, y'all.